I'm Stephen Chamberlain, Chief Executive of the Active Learning Trust, and I'm delighted to be able to talk a little bit about our Learning Commission. Within the Trust, our mantra of active learners, active leaders, active citizens and leading active lives is fundamental to our children being successful in later life. And the most important part about being active learners is ensuring that children and young people in our schools are able to develop their learning, develop their skills in order to be successful. The only way we can really know whether the work we're doing is having any impact is actually by talking to those young people themselves. And so the Learning Commission is focused on the learning behaviours, the attitudes that children have towards their learning, and how we as the educationists within the Trust and the support staff and teachers can work together to make sure that we are striving for excellence. I'm delighted that we have so many student commissioners who are working across all of the secondary schools in our Trust to work with us to determine what makes good learning, how do we make sure that learning is both engaging and enjoyable, but most importantly, how does it help young people prepare for their learning in later life and to be successful. So the work that Mr. Dakun is doing with our student commissioners and student ambassadors across the Trust is absolutely fundamental to making sure that we provide an outstanding education for everybody within our schools. Looking forward to seeing how this develops. I'm sure you'll enjoy listening to our students talk about their learning, and we're delighted to come back in a few years' time to tell you just how successful this has been in making sure that active learners are at the centre of everything we do within the Active Learning Trust.
Seeing PowerPoints, like it explains it mainly to us.
Favourite lessons is ones where we can go around the classroom with our friends and find bits of information and resources, and then picking up that resources that we've learned and put it down onto paper and doing group work onto like posters.
Probably ones where like we get to like figure out answers in a group discussion, because then you can get ideas from other people to help you.
Okay.
Group work together, because it's easier and you don't have to put so much stress into doing all of it at once when certain people can do certain things.
Discussions are quite helpful because you can voice your opinion and see what other people think, and it can help you understand other people's views on topics, especially ones like some things we learn in religious education. It's quite helpful to know and understand how others view it.
Like recently in one of my lessons, we were like allowed to use our phones that have them flat on the desk, like to research like facts. Like for example, in science, we used our phones to research facts about like killer plants.
I like doing like posters and stuff like that. And I also like doing like working in groups as well. I think that's quite nice as well, because you get to hear everyone's ideas, not just your own.
When they're like more interactive, so it's not just like teaching from a PowerPoint or telling us to copy things down when we're doing like groups or like classroom discussions and things like that.
For me, I like the ones that are very interactive, like quizzes, as they can they let you know all your knowledge. So if you were to do a quiz on topics that you've previously learnt about, then you can further your knowledge and consolidate what you've already learned.
Sometimes like group projects and stuff, so being able to like go out in our own little groups and see what we can research and stuff, they're pretty fun and they're helpful.
I agree with Abigail with the group activities, and I also quite like when we're doing work out of textbooks, but I think that is just me.
Agree with what they've said. Like I like lessons that are very RSC based, but lessons where you do have a little bit of writing, so you can use your RSC to get ideas across and then write it down so those ideas stay in your head for like next lessons.
I think quizzes and problem solving.
Okay.
I like practical work, so like getting your hands stuck in with all the different things in the lessons.
Okay, can I
feel like when the teachers will give us their input and then they'll give us a worksheet or booklet to go through, I think that's quite useful. They'll go and help us individually if we need it.
I find in a couple of my classes we've been doing little debates, and a lot of people remember what we've done in them because we work in groups of 5 and 6 with people we trust, because there's always at least someone in your class you know.
I agree with them both with the group work, because it like increases your teamwork and your communication with each other, and I like it when...
So in lessons, what helps me learn more is when the teachers play videos, because when they're teaching, I think they do it in too much depth, so you don't quite understand what they're saying, but videos help it break down into different pieces.
I learn most from like videos and more interactive stuff, so when you're actually having a conversation between the class and the teachers instead of just going off into little pairs or writing notes constantly.
Because of what we're doing at the minute, so like in history we sometimes do role plays and stuff because we learn about the Battle of Hastings, and in French we sometimes play games what can help learning more.
Yeah, like creative and more team effort to help each other out than independent.
Maybe more like creative and interactive worksheets or like stuff to do rather than just like taking notes or
I think something creative is like really good to have, because I feel like the more creative it is, the more better it is to look at it, and I think having the different colours, it just makes things easier to memorise and things like that.
Things like interesting teachers help, like engaging activities and things like mnemonics that help shorten things down and keep them in your head easier.
The activities that help me learn most are definitely discussion, because you hear other people's ideas and then you can revise on what you think and you can change what you think depending on what other people say.
I think discussions, because they're where you're putting in all these ideas and they're very much including everyone, so you hear what other people think and then you can combine ideas together.
Okay, thank you.
Probably the ones where you get to share ideas with people but not having to do the same work, because that way you get a lot more done in everything because everybody has a different idea.
I like when we revise topics that we've been over.
What I've found that's helped us quite a lot is in some lessons we have been able to use a laptop to help us with learning, so that we could find it in, the teacher would tell us what we could use in that, and also we could use a laptop to find further information.
I feel learning the subject from the base and then up instead of going from topic to topic.
Making us copy things down or out of textbooks, like being able to actually do research for ourselves instead of just copying and just not really learning much.
I'd want like loads of like some more equipment in like maths and stuff, and some posters around the rooms just to help us.
I quite like creative ones, like storyboards, timelines, stuff that you can like visually look at with colours and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I think engaging one, so it's not like you're taking notes, it's more like you're writing things down and you're creating your own like way of the PowerPoint, if that makes sense.
Okay, lovely.
I think also maybe the way the assessments are done, because I think that some people, you know that you have assessment dates but you're not told. Some teachers don't tell you within enough time, and I think that you're going to need enough time to prepare, because otherwise people will feel like really stressed out about it and everything.
Like,
and I feel
videos, because it could help more, like you could play like some games and role playing, and sometimes in science we do like word searches and crosswords just to help us more.
Okay.
I think
help me learn most, what would they be?
Well, I think if they had like stuff for all different types of learners, so like sometimes we'd have a lesson where we're more interactive, and sometimes we'd have a lesson.
So the first thing I do is definitely practicals, and especially in some subjects where you just watch it being done, you don't know how to do it, or even though you're watching it, sometimes you have to actually do it to be able to know what you're doing. The second one for me is probably discussion, because sometimes teachers can ask you to like write down way too much than you think you should be writing.
I think that you need a mixture of both writing and speaking, because if you're doing too much oracy, I don't think you get enough work done, and I think that it's more becoming a bit of a fun lesson. You're not really like engaging enough, but then I think that if you're writing too much and you're just writing down facts, you're not actually understanding what you're writing, and you're just writing down what you're being told to. So I think like I learn most from a mixture of like both, like half and half.
Like being able to help ourselves rather than always the teacher. So maybe like textbooks always out, or iPads or laptops, or notes that we already have, like being there so we don't always have to ask the teacher.
A lot more questions, the teacher asking questions to include the students a lot more, and asking more of a variety of students rather than more specifically one or two every time.
Like learning about things that can help us in our future, like how to pay mortgage, how to pay rent, how to like
get a plane so you can go to another country so you can speak the language that you're being taught in school, because I don't know how to book a plane to Spain.
If we had like more than one teacher in a classroom,
Okay.
like smaller people, like less people in a classroom,
Yeah.
and like more longer time in lessons.
Probably like
Okay.
having more people in like a bit more groups, because sometimes you just have to do it by yourself, and sometimes I'm by myself and it gets a bit nerve-wracking to put your hand up and ask the teacher, and even if you do, it's just like, oh, they might not understand what I'm trying to say, but like you would obviously don't want to say that to the teacher. So I feel like being in groups like help a bit more.
I think sitting more with people you know and trust, because then you get along with them, and you actually, when you're told to discuss with the person next to you, you know it's someone who's actually going to reply rather than someone who's just going to stay silent or get distracted and talk to someone else.
I'd like up-to-date marking. Well, that's something that I'd like, because if every 3 months you're getting your book mark, it's very hard to pinpoint what areas you need to work on. Whereas if you have ones every like couple of weeks, then it shows what you need to do and how you can do it to be the best that you can be.
I quite like being able to choose who you're working with. So you can discuss with somebody that you know you'll be able to talk to, rather than someone that you're sort of scared of, as I would be.
Working quietly so you get more time to think and stuff like that.
More oracy.
Okay.
That seemed to be lacking in some of our lessons as of late.
Different tasks, fun quizzes, so then it sticks in the head. Once you've learned it, you can go back to it and it stays in your head.
Okay.
We definitely need more communication between teachers and students, between revision and getting things done, because
Probably more group work, but I understand that isn't possible at the moment because of COVID. But obviously after COVID, more group work. And probably after COVID in science, probably more experiments, because it'd be easier to understand it more.
Like right.
Okay. Right, lovely.
Like I said earlier, I'd like to use oracy more in lessons. So I think talking is a major part of learning, and it.
Working with friends and make sure we all get along and do the work.
And I would also have quizzes to so like Kahoots, or like out of so quizzes to like help you, as it can just consolidate that knowledge.
I think that we should try and make the learning more relatable to students, because when you're learning, you like what they said before. They said you might not be able to figure out how this will be in your everyday life, and I think that the teachers should figure a way to show you how it relates to everyday life, and show you that how what you're going to learn is going to be needed, so that you're more engaged in what you're doing.
I would like more energetic and interactive learning, as it keeps a fast-paced environment, so you can learn a lot more without losing focus.
So I think it would be good if we could just talk and reflect on what we've been doing. I think we should, like Daisy said again, we should speak to our partners a lot, because when you share ideas with each other, you can get more ideas as a group, and you can tell the teacher new ideas and a new perspective. Say we're looking at history and we're looking at a king, and everyone's thinking of one thing, his looks. We could reflect on his past and bring that up, and bring different subjects of that lesson up. And the last thing I'd say,
So I think more practicals that involves group work, because also when you're doing practicals, you use your RSC skills quite a lot. And not just group work as in being in groups of 4 with your friends and being able to choose the groups you're in, but group work within the whole class, because sometimes you're only communicating with the same people, and it's a good life skill to have, to communicate with the people maybe you only just met.
Probably more experiments in science, obviously working on the seating plan and stuff, hopefully, and then just being able to find it easier to concentrate in lessons as well.
I think trying to sort of help everyone participate, because I think that's quite important, because sometimes you get people that know a lot about the subjects, then some other people don't really get a chance to put their hand up, because there's some people all the time that are putting their hand up and down.
Let's see is perhaps more while you're in lessons, so you have more resources other than just reading from a text and writing down,
maybe for people who can't engage in that can have other activities to do to gain their resources
I
from.
agree with that. I think the better the resources are, then the better you can learn. So textbooks, having enough to go around a class and having them to use for all the classes is a big thing.
I think when we're given work to do by ourselves, but we have the teacher there to constantly call over, so we're able to learn by ourselves at our own pace instead of going at the same time as the teacher.
I would say group as well, and talking to other students to help us understand more, and so you don't feel pressured that you're by yourself and whatnot.
Or group work.
Group work together, and that we can talk to our class instead of sitting dead silent.
There's more practical work, so that means that if let's say you're in geography, you build a model of what you're learning about. The second one would be maybe sometimes a bit more engaging. Instead of just reading for a text and writing it down, you can maybe do something else, like watch a video, take down notes and make a poster or something. And the third one would be just a bit more group work as such, so more talking, more ideas from everyone, so everyone can put all their ideas together.
Group work, we need more group work because, we don't get enough of it. We need more practical learning because we usually write into books, and we need more practical work. And we need to do more... I screwed it.
Okay, doesn't matter. We'll come back to you. Do you want to do the start again? Because you got the first three. We can move that a bit. Just give me your third one now.
Yeah, I think we need...
I also think marking the books should be updated more, because in lessons like science or something, if I write something down and I try to revise it over the next couple of weeks, if I write something wrongly or a mistake or something, I won't know until a couple of months later.
Probably more of the conversation kind of lessons where your teacher doesn't mind if you're they don't talk at you, they're kind of talking with you. That way it makes it a lot more clear what they're talking about.
Well, when you're in lessons, they teach you facts that you have to remember to pass the exam. They never teach you really how to understand that and then apply your own knowledge.
I think that maybe we should be taught, when we do presentations and things, I think that we should be taught more about understanding it, and like you said about note taking. I think we should cut back on the note taking, and instead of just writing down the notes on the board, I think that they should talk more about it and make you understand what the notes that you are taking before you just write them down.
Okay, thank you.
I think another thing is not copying your answers off the whiteboards and putting it into your own perspective, putting it into your own words and that.
I would remove the seating plan. So when in some lessons you can have a different view on the lesson depending on who you sit next to. Whereas if you sit next to someone that you know you can work well with and progress further because you're sat next to someone that you enjoy their company with, then you can further your learning. Because if you sit next to someone that's bad, then their influence can be put on you, and then you can not enjoy the lesson as much as you wanted to if you were sat next to someone that you'd learn better with.
I'd like it if teachers can don't talk at us for the entire hour, because some lessons we do get spoken at for a good chunk of the lesson, then we only have a really small period to do the work for the lesson.
Less note taking and teacher talking in our lessons, because we don't get enough time to do our actual task. And if we cut down on that time, then we can spend more time thinking about the main area of the subject that we're learning.
I would probably say...
Did you want to come back to what you're thinking?
Yes, please.
Okay.
That when the teachers hand out sheets, I know that it helps me to write out what I'm learning. So I was just wondering if we could have the opportunity to choose whether we'd want the sheet or not.
Seating plans are useful, but the ones that are alphabetical, sometimes you end up sitting next to someone you just don't want to sit next to.
So it's not just all on boards and all just copying things down, because that's not an actual lesson. That's more of just a presentation type thing.
When the teacher just talks for the whole time,
Yeah.
doesn't give us time to just actually get on with the work.
Yeah.
It's good when they explain it, but when they just overdo it and they don't let us learn it for ourselves.
When they over exaggerate it.
Well, I would say put points instead of paragraphs when it comes to key facts, because
I get that we need to explain it and all, but that would be for when we actually need to, not just for our books.
Just copying.
And disrupting the lessons and that.
Okay.
Just copying loads of stuff.
Probably long worksheets, like really long ones with loads of text boxes and everything. You just look at it and it's just not nice to look at all. It just looks intimidating and a bit boring.
Different presentation.
Or lessons on end.
Okay.
I'm going to say different presentations, so it doesn't just say copy things down.
Staying away from doing the PowerPoint and worksheets every lesson, because some lessons I go to and I know I'm going to sit for a PowerPoint and then look at my worksheets. I think more freedom and maybe more group tasks could be.
It would be long, very long tasks, ones that spread over multiple lessons, because I feel like having the break in the work kind of makes jolts off the concentration.
Students to be able to come into school and be really excited, and for them to be excited for the opportunity they have to learn.
In 2 years' time, I hope the culture of the students has been caught up with the learning. I feel like sometimes the learning is based off how students were a few years ago, not how they are now.
I'd say teachers should be more expressive and enthusiastic, because if a teacher was just saying get on with this work and then if you have any questions just ask me, it doesn't sound very fun.
Organised and just hopefully just set up straight away so we can just come in and get on with our work.
I think that we should be learning the base of all topics, so when you get to your year 11 lesson, you've been able to follow the curriculum and you're actually able to understand everything, because instead of following the curriculum from year 7 upwards and learning one subject and not coming back to it till you're in year 11, if you learn the base of everything and then go higher in year 8, higher in year 9 till you get to year 11, I think it will be much easier to be able to understand what you're learning.
I feel a bit more fluent, I guess. Just kind of being able to do our own thing, being able to know what we're doing, having loads of research done, I think that would be probably best.
I want to see more diverse out of the box lessons, and I want to see more diverse attitudes to learning as well, because it's always, a lot of people think it's a chore, and I think that a lot of it shouldn't be seen as that. I think it should be seen as, I've got a lesson, let's go.
To improve how we do the homework, and some people, they get stuck with the homework, and the people they live with can't help them with the homework, so it'd be good to create something, whether it be just emailing the teacher or a system that gets put in place where the students can get help with the homework.
I want lessons to be enjoyable. I don't want them to be distracted.
I would like to have a lot of interactivity with some lessons that are very just lecture sort of based, because in some lessons you're just told to write stuff down rather than doing it in a playful way. Some lessons can turn out boring and then you won't remember it or enjoy it as much as if you not played a game but had a fun experience with it, learned it in a song or something like that.
Because we'll be older, definitely something more independent in a way, because when we're older we kind of just want to get on with the work because it's something that we have decided to do and that's our choice. And I think just having that independent work, it helps us to just get all the information a bit more and just gives us a bit more of independence and things like that.
I'll be a bit older then, so maybe more independent learning, so stuff that I can teach myself or look at myself and work with that.
I'd want to see.
Describe what sort of lesson you'd want to see then.
I'd want to see a lesson where people are sat next to the people who they want to be sat next to, as long as they're not disturbing the class, and that they can.
I think more project-based learning, because personally I like doing quite a lot of projects.
Yeah, a teacher that knows what they're teaching, how they are going to explain it, and the methods they are going to use to get the learning across.
Come in and the PowerPoint's up, the LO's up, textbooks are handed out. We kind of know what we need to do so we don't have to, set up and take time out of when we could be learning to set everything up.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to be able to walk into a lesson confidently and be able to know that I was going to learn something.
For it to be like,
This is what I really wanted. What would your lesson look like?
for it to be like more interactive, like we're doing like a lot of our own learning ourselves instead of it all just being given, and like any information that like we're being told to like copy or to like read.
Like a teacher who's like energetic and enthusiastic about the subject they're teaching and is happy to teach it in a fun and interesting way.
I'm going to say that all of us working in like a group, and like so you're more interacting with each other and not just a PowerPoint on the board that you just copy.
I think I'd see classrooms working together and sitting in groups of trusted people where it's not silent but it's not loud.
If I walked into a class in 2 years' time, I would like there to be more discussion and more interactiveness, and also people getting along like better than they would if they were like put next to someone they don't like and they wouldn't talk to them.
Okay, lovely.
It would be to like help more people like learn and like to make the school better.
Okay.
I'd probably say like helping students improve focus and so they can pass tests and
Yeah, so then they're confident, so then they can be able to pass GCSEs and go further into what they want to do.
Okay.
I want all the schools in the trust or all the schools that are working together to have more of a team environment rather than being separate schools, because I feel like the student commission will bond all the schools together so that the students can like interact with each other and have a fun time.
I wanted to improve outside learning, like revision mostly, because that's a key problem, and I feel the main problem is engagement with the.
I think it'd be nice if it were able to, as well as help students with their learning, help them with mental well-being, because there's probably quite a few students who can't focus on their lessons because they're thinking about something else, which is making them worry.
I think having all the different people from different places, it just gives more opinions into the matter, and I think the more opinions you have, the more ideas you have, and the more you get to build up a visual of like how people would want school to be. So like working with other children's or other people from other school, it just helps a lot to build up that image of what would be perfect for us in schools.
I think that kids should look forward to going to school instead of only going to school because you haven't got a choice. I feel like you want to be at school, you have that positive attitude to succeed. I feel like that's something teachers never tell you, that you can do better or how you can do better, that if you do bad you can always get better. I feel like that school should be a positive environment and everyone will want to be there, and I feel like that is something that should be happen in all schools.
Better relations between people in everything, whether that be in school, out of school, during extracurricular and in curricular. I think that we should create, better communications in between the community and out of greater community. I think that we should have a nicer experience for everyone in every part that is in or out of school. I think
community. Not everything in school, but outside. Like get involved as a team from the school in the community, than just individually.
Like different people to work with give us a lot of skills, being like different to our classroom experience, which I think could be good.
I don't know, there's a lot more people, so you have a lot more people to interact with, so there'll be lots of different opinions. So I don't really know, like the difference of opinions, like debates and stuff against everyone.
One big difference I'd like to be made is maybe more like events where schools get together and maybe have tournaments or art contests or baking contests, where you're more social with other schools. I'd say make improve a bit more.
Okay.
I'd say make it
so like make it more fun, because if you do,
I
you
think
won't have.
linking to Mikey's idea that we should have different year groups within the school that can like be the relationship to be better between the different year groups, because we're very like separated into our year groups and we don't really get a chance to work and be with other year groups, and I think that would be better if we got to talk and like have different things going on with the other year groups, and it would like, I think it would make the learning better and each lesson.
Okay, thank you.
I want the student commission to achieve like learning being more fun, and for students to see what they're using their learning for outside of school.
So like we get together well, and we start getting along with each other and making ideas with each other.
I want it to like make children feel like they're more safe at school, and that like there are teachers that they can go to talk to and rely on for certain stuff, and there's like that trust.
Like probably starting to like meet the people, like everyone who's in it, and also getting to know the people in it.
I think it would be quite nice if you could get people to come in and talk about their careers. I know they do it for older years, but to year 7 I think it would also make quite a nice thing as well.
It would be good if we could have an environment where everyone feels like they can be themselves and they don't have to do things to avoid issues, and that they can be themselves, and everyone's going to school being positive and thinking they're going to have a good day.
People who don't as such get a voice, who don't really speak out, have that bigger chance to speak out of what changes they would like to make themselves.
Just say something like allowing the students to have their own voice and being able to speak up and see what can be improved, just not by certain people but like a majority of them.
So like
Go first, please.
Yeah, of course. If you can go first.
So like students being like actually excited to go to school. So like, I'm going
that everyone gets to know each other more and work better with other people, and so they can use that skill later on in life.